Hello everyone and welcome. We have a lot of rumors on new Zelda announcements, Zelda spin-offs, new ports or remasters, smaller collaborations, similar to Cadence of Hyrule, and yes, the Zelda 35th anniversary celebration at the Game Awards on December 9th. All of this coming from a few different people, one of whom being someone I actually have a lot of trust in, and has, to my knowledge, never been wrong, not just on Zelda, but many other games. But if you know of any, please post a link in the comments below. I'm actually starting to think it's an alt account for Reggie or Miyamoto. Anyways, we will start with the rumors, answer some questions a lot of you have asked about all of this, and end with my thoughts. A few people have been giving a final push on rumors for Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD being announced this year, specifically at the Game Awards. But there have been a lot of notable and popular people in and out of the industry who have been saying they can confirm Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD would be releasing this year. These rumors actually gets touched on by Samus Hunter, who posted on Twitter, the celebrations for the 35th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda will continue at the Game Awards, then clarified with an update after tons and tons of messages. Given the follow-up to the tweet, I want to specify a couple of things. I don't currently know specific details about it, but here's what it could mean. Concert dedicated to the entire series, very likely. Trailer for the sequel to Breath of the Wild, collaborations with other games. Another follow-up tweet says, I see very difficult, if not impossible, the announcement of a Wind Waker Twilight Princess HD. I don't have any information about them, and that likely means that they don't have plans to market them. Also, we might get other Switch games updates, reveals like Monster Hunter, if we don't get news this month. Nintendo always has at least a few surprising announcements at the Game Awards. For the last several years, more often than not, they have actually been Zelda or Smash Bros related. While Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is finished, and I don't expect a new game to be announced for a while, I still expect Smash Bros. To be at the Game Awards. Either a big mention or a special congratulations for Nintendo and Sakurai for bringing together so many fan-favorite characters from across many different generations, as well as third and first parties. I also think they will mention Nintendo's partnership for an official Smash Bros. Esport tournament. This is looking like Nintendo's last chance to officially do something for Zelda's 35th anniversary. A lot of people think they haven't done anything at all, but honestly, they have done a lot, which you can see a list of almost everything in this video here. They just spread it out over the entire year instead of giving a single Nintendo Direct for it, as they did with Mario. One of the main questions you all have been asking, how realistic is a lot of this? Skyward Sword HD just released in July. How could Nintendo already have a new Zelda game to announce? My answer? While Nintendo's main Zelda team is hard at work on Breath of the Wild 2, they have had at least 5 or 6 completely different Zelda teams working on their own individual games all at the same time in the past. Skyward Sword HD was developed by Tantalus, who worked on Twilight Princess HD. The original Wind Waker HD was developed by a very small part of Nintendo's main Zelda team, and took about 5 months or less to create from the ground up. We actually have a video talking about all of this here. And from interviews, we know a typical port would take no longer than 2 to 3 months to complete. And that's porting it to multiple consoles, not just the Switch. So realistically, Tantalus or another team could have began a version of Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD when Skyward Sword HD was finished, and have both ready to release or be announced this year. Technically, they could have even began one in October and have it ready in December. Do I think that is likely? No. I don't see anything released until next year, but I do think an announcement is possible for the Game Awards. Personally, I'm in the group of people who believe Nintendo has already finished the remakes or ports and just held them back to announce at a later date, like they have said they have done with many other games. And we all know their history of quickly porting over Wii U games to the Switch, and even adding tons of new content or amiibo support to the games while they're at it. As most of you already know, I've been saying we likely won't hear any new Zelda announcements for HD remakes, remasters, or ports to the Switch until after Nintendo is done with their marketing for Skyward Sword HD. This is for the simple fact, if you put Ocarina of Time HD, Twilight Princess HD, an HD version of the Oracle games, or any other Zelda game next to Skyward Sword HD, most people would go with whatever the other Zelda game was instead of Skyward Sword HD. So to not have Skyward Sword overshadowed by Ocarina of Time HD or Twilight Princess HD, they would hold off on the announcement and give Skyward Sword HD all of the marketing support that it needs, especially based off of how poorly it did when it originally released. And no, I'm not saying that I hated the original game or the new game. I've been a big fan of Skyward Sword since its original release, and have several different live streams of it on this channel. We've actually seen this from Nintendo this year, as they have released a ton of amazing stuff to go along with this release. New Joy-Cons, amiibo, a giant collector's edition with multiple CDs covering music from the entire Zelda series, a special partnership celebrating the game with Amazon and Twitch, and many other things. And of course, I want to give a huge thank you to all of our Patreon supporters who give us video ideas like this, some of our Zelda theory, top 10 list, and discussion topics that we discuss on our podcast or other videos. If you would like a shout out at the end of all of our videos or the beginning of our podcast, the Hylian Gamescast, as well as any of the other benefits mentioned. So thank you Jon Snow, ZAIN, FRAN, WIGGLYWIGGLE, NORNARB or Brandon, SOBERX, Mr. MONOCLED, METROID, Jen, Super NX 64, David, Zoe, Natsu, Jesse, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗏, Ashton, Justin, Candy, Chad, BKRS7, Larulian Sheep, Largnar, Monica, Shadow to Us, Rusty, Lovable Christy, Henry, and of course, Gus. Thank you all so much.